Number 10. Repenomamus giganticus. In 2005, paleontologist Jin Meng of the American Museum of Natural History published the paper that quietly rewrote a chapter of the Mesozoic. The fossil at the center of the paper was a small mammal recovered from the Yixian Formation in northeastern China. The animal was approximately 3 feet long, the size of a modern badger. It had been found with the partial skeleton of a juvenile dinosaur preserved in its stomach. The mammal was named Repenomamus giganticus. The dinosaur in its gut was a young Psittacosaurus. This is the sentence that rearranges the standard picture of the dinosaur age. For most of the 20th century, mammals during the Mesozoic were described as small, nocturnal, and ecologically irrelevant. Shrew-like animals living in the shadows of the giants. Repenomamus was not a shrew. It was a predator. It was actively hunting young dinosaurs, killing them and eating them. The animal weighed between 26 and 30 pounds. By Mesozoic mammal standards, that is enormous. The jaw architecture indicates a powerful bite. The teeth are the teeth of a carnivore. The Yixian Formation has produced multiple Repenomamus specimens. The pattern is consistent. Mammals were not waiting in the shadows for the asteroid. They were already eating the children of the apex reptiles. Number 9. Sarcosuchus imperator. In 1997, the American paleontologist Paul Sereno led an expedition into the Teneri Desert of Central Africa in the area now known as the Republic of Niger. What he and his team recovered was a skull. The skull alone measured 6 feet in length. The animal it had belonged to is now called Sarcosuchus imperator, the flesh-eating crocodile emperor. It lived approximately 112 million years ago in the rivers of what is now North Africa. Total body length reached 40 feet. Body weight reached 8 tons. That is roughly the weight of a modern African elephant packed into a body shaped to disappear under the water. Sarcosuchus did not hunt fish. The jaw mechanics are wrong. The teeth are conical, robust, and designed for crushing. The architecture of the skull is the architecture of an ambush predator, built to take down large land animals at the water's edge. The animals that came to drink at those rivers were dinosaurs, sauropods, theropods, iguanodontids. Sarcosuchus was waiting for them. The fossil record from this region shows dinosaur bones with healed bite marks matching the tooth spacing of Sarcosuchus. The animals it bit and failed to kill survives long enough to heal. The ones that did not heal left no fossils to compare. Number 8. Pulmonoscorpius. Before there were dinosaurs, there was a Scottish swamp full of giant scorpions. Pulmonoscorpius cryptonensis was a Carboniferous-era scorpion that lived approximately 330 million years ago in what is now central Scotland. From the type specimens recovered at East Kirkton Quarry, the animal reached body lengths of 28 inches. That measurement is from head to telson. A modern emperor scorpion, the largest commonly kept species, reaches around 8 inches. Pulmonoscorpius was 3 times that length. The lineage matters here. Pulmonoscorpius did not directly hunt dinosaurs. It predates them by tens of millions of years. But the 8-foot millipede Arthropleura and the other giant arthropods of the Carboniferous were the apex terrestrial invertebrate predators that the early ancestors of dinosaurs had to navigate. The biology that made these animals possible was the atmospheric oxygen content of the Carboniferous, which reached as high as 35%. The modern atmosphere is 21%. Higher oxygen allowed arthropod respiration systems to support body sizes that are physically impossible today. When the oxygen dropped, the giants shrank. By the time the first dinosaurs evolved, the scorpions were already on their way to becoming what they are now. But for a window of evolutionary time, the most dangerous predator on land had 8 legs and a stinger longer than a human forearm. Number 7. Beelzebufo ampinga. In 2008, paleontologists working in the Yixian Formation in northwestern Madagascar identified the fossilized remains of an animal they named Beelzebufo ampinga. The name translates approximately to the devil frog with a shield. Beelzebufo was a frog. By the standards of frogs, it was a monster. The animal measured 16 inches long and weighed up to 10 pounds. The skull alone was 6 inches wide, equipped with a bite force that, scaled up from modern relatives, has been estimated to exceed that of a wolf. Beelzebufo lived approximately 70 million years ago in the late Cretaceous, alongside dwarf sauropod dinosaurs and small theropods. The diet was almost certainly hatchling dinosaurs. This is not speculation. The closest living relatives of Beelzebufo are South American horned frogs of the genus Ceratophrys, which are known to consume small lizards, snakes, and birds whole. Scaled to Beelzebufo's body size, the dietary range expands considerably. A frog the size of a soccer ball, sitting motionless at the edge of a Cretaceous waterhole, eating any young dinosaur foolish enough to come within striking distance. Number 6. Quetzalcoatlus northropi. The largest flying animal that has ever existed lived at the very end of the dinosaur age. Quetzalcoatlus northropi was a pterosaur, identified from fossil fragments first recovered in Big Bend National Park in Texas in 1971. The full wingspan has been estimated at 36 to 39 feet. The standing height, on the ground, reached 16 feet, the height of a modern giraffe. The animal weighed approximately 550 pounds. That weight is at the absolute upper limit of what is theoretically possible for a powered flying vertebrate. For decades, paleontologists assumed Quetzalcoatlus fed on fish, skimming the surface of inland seas. That picture is now considered wrong. The current consensus, based on neck anatomy, jaw shape, and the leg architecture, is that Quetzalcoatlus was a terrestrial stalker. It walked through the late Cretaceous floodplains on its forelimbs, neck held high, scanning for small to medium dinosaurs. The bill was over 8 feet long. It could be driven into the ground or into prey with the force of a vertical strike from a 16-foot animal. A modern stork hunts frogs. Quetzalcoatlus, scaled up by a factor of 50, was hunting baby triceratops. It was still doing this when the asteroid arrived. Number 5. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus. The largest predatory dinosaur that has ever been confirmed lived in North Africa around 95 million years ago. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus reached lengths of up to 50 feet, exceeding Tyrannosaurus rex by approximately 10 feet. Body weight estimates range from 7 to 20 tons, depending on the analysis. This is Spinosaurus, but not the Spinosaurus most people grew up imagining. The skeletal reconstructions, published since 2014, led by paleontologist Nizar Ibrahim, indicate that Spinosaurus was not a land-based theropod in the traditional sense. The legs were too short for its body. The center of gravity was wrong. The bones had the dense, paddle-like structure found in modern penguins and whales. Spinosaurus was a swimming dinosaur. It hunted in the water. Its prey was the massive freshwater fish of the Cretaceous river systems, Onchopristis, a sawfish relative that reached 25 feet in length, Mawsonia, a coelacanth-like fish weighing over 800 pounds, the largest river fish that have ever existed. The dinosaur that was, for decades, depicted in textbooks as a slightly larger than T-Rex land predator turned out to be the largest aquatic predator of its environment, hunting prey we still cannot fully replicate. The reconstruction is so recent that most of the public still does not know about it. Number 4. Mosasaurus hoffmanni. In 1764, in a chalk quarry near the Dutch city of Maastricht, workers blasted out a fossil skull that was, at the time, the largest reptile remains anyone had ever seen. The skull alone measured 5 feet in length. It belonged to an animal that has since been named Mosasaurus hoffmanni. The full body length reached 56 feet. The weight has been estimated at over 15 tons. By body mass, it was significantly larger than any modern killer whale. Mosasaurus was not a dinosaur. It was a marine reptile, more closely related to modern monitor lizards and snakes than to anything that walked on land. But it lived in the same world. It hunted the same coastlines, and it ate, among other things, the dinosaurs that strayed too close to the shore. The jaw architecture is the disturbing part. Mosasaurus had a second set of teeth on the roof of its mouth, mounted on a hinged inner palate that pulled prey backward into its throat with each bite. The animal could not let go even if it tried. The structure was designed to ensure that anything entering its mouth was conveyed inward one tooth at a time until it disappeared. It was the apex predator of the late Cretaceous oceans. Number 3. Cretoxyrhina mantelli. Before the great white, before the modern apex sharks, there was Cretoxyrhina mantelli. Cretoxyrhina lived approximately 100 to 80 million years ago in the warm, shallow seas that covered most of what is now central North America. It reached lengths of 26 feet and weighed up to 4 tons. For comparison, a modern great white shark reaches around 20 feet and weighs around 2.5 tons. The teeth recovered from Cretoxyrhina fossils show heavy wear patterns consistent with biting through bone. The fossil record of the era includes the partial skeletons of mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, and even pterosaurs, with bite damage matching Cretoxyrhina's tooth spacing. The shark was hunting marine reptiles. Pterosaurs that swooped too low over the water became prey. Plesiosaurs were attacked from below. Cretoxyrhina is sometimes called the Ginsu shark, after the brand of kitchen knives, because its teeth were so effective at cutting through anything it encountered. The nickname is unscientific. The bite force was not. Cretoxyrhina disappeared at the end of the Cretaceous. Its ecological niche was eventually filled, partially, by the lineage that would eventually produce Megalodon. The seas have never been free of monsters. They have. Number 2. Deinosuchus rugosus. In the late Cretaceous swamps of what is now the southern United States, the apex predator was not a dinosaur. It was a crocodilian, Deinosuchus rugosus. Deinosuchus reached lengths of up to 40 feet and weighed up to 8 tons. The skull alone exceeded 5 feet. The teeth were the size of bananas, blunt at the tips, designed not to slice but to crush. The bite force has been estimated at over 23,000 pounds per square inch, more than any other animal known to have existed. The diet of Deinosuchus has been confirmed by direct evidence. Fossil dinosaur bones recovered across the Gulf coastal plain show bite marks that match the spacing of Deinosuchus' teeth. The damage patterns are not opportunistic scavenging. They are sustained predation. The dinosaurs being bitten include hadrosaurs traveling in herds along the waterways. They include juvenile theropods. They include, in some cases, adult Tyrannosaurus. This is the picture the textbooks have been slow to integrate. While Tyrannosaurus rex was hunting on the dry land of late Cretaceous North America, the wetlands belonged to Deinosuchus. Any large dinosaur that came to the water to drink, to cross, or to cool itself was within striking distance of an animal larger than a school bus, armored across the entire body, and equipped with the most powerful bite of any predator in the fossil record. The dinosaurs were not always at the top. Number 1. What hunted Tyrannosaurus rex? We end with the question most viewers will never have thought to ask. What hunted Tyrannosaurus rex? The adult T-Rex at full size was approximately 40 feet long and weighed up to 9 tons. It is the most famous predator in the cultural imagination of human beings. The assumption is that nothing hunted it. That assumption is not accurate. Adult tyrannosaurs were apex predators, but juveniles were not. A young T-Rex in its first few years of life was the size of a turkey. By age 10, it was the size of a large horse. It did not reach full adult mass until age 18 to 20. For nearly 2 decades of its life, every T-Rex was vulnerable to other predators. The fossil record contains T-Rex bones with healed bite marks. The bites come from multiple sources. Other tyrannosaurs, including its own species, Deinosuchus, the giant crocodilian, adult Sarcosuchids in the southern part of the range. There's also evidence in the form of trampling damage and predation marks that large adult tyrannosaurs were occasionally killed by herds of triceratops defending their young. The Triceratops horn has been recovered embedded in fossilized T-Rex skulls. The king of the late Cretaceous spent 20 years being hunted before it became the hunter, and even then, the swamps and the herds were always waiting. The fossil record does not produce heroes. It produces a long, continuous arms race in which everything that ate eventually was eaten. 10 predators. 10 animals that occupied the top of food chains in worlds we no longer have access to. And in nearly every case, the modern cultural picture of what their ecosystems look like is incomplete. The dinosaurs were not the only predators of their age. They were not always the most dangerous animals in the room. And in many cases, the things that were hunting them were not dinosaurs at all. If this list disturbed you, then watch what comes next. I made a video about the giant animals that lived alongside early humans, predators that our direct ancestors had to survive and barely did. Subscribe before you go. Next week, the deep ocean creatures that science is still trying to classify. You will not want to miss what is still down there.